Hi, this is Landria Seals Green, and your Monday morning starts here. You know, we have to ask ourselves, who does it take to push the mission forward for the individual standing in front of us? When I say individual, I'm talking the learner, the client, the patient. Who will it take? And the answer is it takes all of us. And at the core of what it takes, it's the data. And you may say, data, I don't want to think about data. You better think about data. And data matters. Quantitative data matters. Qualitative data also matters. Together, they are powerful. But let me hinge in on quantitative data. Let me focus in on that. And also how important analysis is. Not just taking data, not just gathering data, not just getting it for information purposes, but taking data for the purposes of analysis and affecting behavior change. Not next week, not 3 months from now, but in the moment that you see it. Why is that so important? Because for many people, that could be life, better living, or even be the death. It's what happens and why parents are frustrated when their kids have been working on the same thing for a number of years. And they're asking when they go from provider, and this is really why people are afraid to move from provider to provider, because sometimes it feels like you're starting from ground zero. And we know that feeling in our personal lives. But let me personalize this. For the last week and a half, my mother has been in the hospital. And while it is not fun for her, it is not fun, but we also believe that she is in the right place, because no reason to go home if you are not 100% with this particular thing that she is dealing with. So she's in the hospital and everyone is working. Doctors are working, nurses are working, tech staff is working. So think about your own organization. Everyone is working. People are writing notes. We had a staff person that writes her notes very late. But we are all, my sister is the person that looks at the notes. She is the one that's on the portal. She is vigilant and she is looking at all of the things and she is synthesizing. So we put my sister in the seat of professional in her own right, but also if we are in a pediatric setting, parent who is looking at the portal, looking at the data, trying to synthesize everything, my sister is the person that is doing all of that. And she's analyzing. Why is she analyzing? Why is it important for her to look at all of the parts and make sure that the parts become a whole that matter for my mother and my mother's life? Because it is her loved one. Now, think about the number of families that don't have the time, the capacity, the knowledge, the ability to ask the questions. And also, as an adult, you are vulnerable when you have to ask the questions or don't even know what to look up on today's internet and do a search. What about those adults who don't feel comfortable or confident to do what my sister has done? And that is asking questions, talking to doctors, pulling it together. So we had a situation where, my mother's weight, her numbers were, let's just call out a number, 189 on day one. And then the next day it was 209. Now, numbers don't just jump from that perspective to that. When they jump, when there is a change from a quantitative standpoint, what do we do? What do we do as analysts? What do we do as people? We want to understand why. What's going on? And if it's a jump and the kid is reading from a fluency perspective from 189 to 207, we're like, rah, rah, rah. But when an adult, but numbers can also mean danger if we're not analyzing. So someone entered it, the nurse is working, the doctor's working, the hospitalist is working, all these people are working, but no one is synthesizing and integrating and analyzing and asking the right questions. Who did it? The family member. So Don't throw your collar down and don't bemoan the family member who pushes you towards that mission. Every person has a part, like the body. Every body has a part. My arms have a different part than my wrist, than my fingers, than my toes, than my feet, than my ankle. But they are all focused on the whole human being and the whole human being experience, having a life and having it more abundantly, if you will. So let's think about, I'm not just entering data for this client today. My job is to look at this data and also analyze. My job is to look at the data and alert people. My job is to look at the data and figure out how I can be more than what I am right now. Am I a data entry person? Absolutely not. Who I am in this profession, who I am when it comes to this particular person, this particular child in front of me, is a person who will work with them. I want to impact change. I want to look at the data. I want to talk to people about the data. I want to interact with my data, and I want to interact with my child. Is it a big job? Absolutely, it's a big job. It is a huge job, and the heart has to be in it. And so as you move forward on this particular day, as you move forward on this Monday, always know that you are not only important, but you are integral. You are so crucial. You are essential to that person's team, their life, their ability to live it more abundantly. All the body functions, and every body has a part. And we're just saying everyone is going to do your part. And be empowered. Enjoy the day. And thank you for listening.